So as you all may have heard, the next battlefield has been predicted, Battlefield World War II. This is of course speculation, however the guy who predicted this nailed the setting of Battlefield 1 far before it came out, and in my opinion will get the next Battlefield correct too. This video is going to focus on the weapons that you could expect to see in a Battlefield World War II game, and trust me, there are some really cool ones. I did use some sources to help compile this list, please check out the links in the description down below. I can only assume that DICE will keep the same or at least a very similar class setup to the one they have currently with Battlefield 1. This means an assault, medic, support and scout class, specific weapons and gadgets. You'd also have handguns spread throughout the classes too. Let's start off with the assault class and some weapons that you could expect to see. Of course we'd have loads of SMGs, these would certainly be led by the Thompson M1A1 submachine gun, the MP40 and the British standard issue SMG, the Sten gun. These weapons are well known in pretty much every World War II game that has ever been produced, so I can confidently say that they will make a major appearance if the next Battlefield title is to be set during the Second World War. I'm pretty certain we'd also see weapons such as the MP28, the M3A1 grease gun, the Owen SMG, the Sterling submachine gun and the M50 Rising. These weapons would be part of the main game, but assuming DICE go for a similar DLC package to that of Battlefield 1, we could expect some interesting additions later on. I'd say the PPSH-41 could come with a Soviet-style DLC alongside the PPS-43, and an introduction of a Japanese faction would see the Type 100 make an appearance. Now, as you can tell, this is a lot of weaponry. World War II provides far more than World War I did, and with Battlefield 1 you can kinda see that. DICE decided to go with variants, 3 per weapon, to bulk out the loadout system. I feel as if with World War II, DICE have the option to go back to more weapons, although that's more work for their designers. They could go back for more weapons, less variants and far more customization, with some guides on how to customize your gun. I do like the way in Battlefield 1 that you can choose a variant and that is going to be exactly set up for a certain style of play, while in Battlefield 4 you could kit out your weapon and it could be honestly worse than the actual base loadout of the gun. However, I don't mind that. I think that gives a lot of scope to YouTube videos and to people who almost make most of their content off these loadout videos telling you what the best thing is. It's better for the community, and I think that would be a really good push from DICE to do that. In addition to the SMGs, you'd also have shotguns. From the US faction, we'd almost certainly see the Winchester 1912, the Model 1897, and possibly the Model 21 double-barrel shotgun. It would really make sense from my perspective if DICE kept the weapon balance very similar to Battlefield 1 and essentially replaced the weapons they already have in the game with updated versions that fitted the World War II theme. I wouldn't be surprised to see the M30 Luftwaffe drilling triple-barrel shotgun included as part of a DLC too. That thing is pretty damn cool. From the medic class, I reckon DICE will stick to the SLRs, but also introduce carbines in order to give players something more than in Battlefield 1. Weapons were far more plentiful in World War II, so DICE will have no trouble with choice, and because of that I think they will choose to spread more variants around all 4 classes. The main weapons for the medic class will still be SLRs however, with the main ones being the M1 Garand, the Gewehr 43 and the SVT 40. I think we'd see the Arisaka Type 4 appear in a DLC, and then maybe the return of some weapons that we saw in BF1, such as the Selbstlader 1916. Some weapons from the First World War were reused in the Second World War, and DICE could therefore introduce additional content without having to do much work at all. In terms of carbines, and these won't necessarily be limited to the medic class, we could see the return of weapons such as the Ryby Rolls, although I think they'll stick that in the assault class. Interestingly, we'll almost certainly see far more automatic rifles as more were being produced and used during this time period, however many were introduced late in the war, giving DICE the opportunity to speculate a little bit more in terms of DLC. I'd expect to see the Browning automatic rifle M1918, the Johnson machine gun and the STG-44. The well-known Fedorov Automat, of course you played with it in the medic class in Battlefield 1, will almost certainly make a return in a Soviet-style DLC with some other weapons like the AVS-36 and possibly some prototype weapons like the ZK-412. For the support class, you'll get the well-known MG42, MG34, Browning 1919A4, MG15, Madsen machine gun, Lewis machine gun, Hotchkiss portative and Vickers machine gun. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Type 96 and Type 99 in a Japanese faction DLC, and then with the Soviets you could see the DP-28 and RPD. Whether DICE continue with 3 variants for each weapon is yet to be discovered, but the amount of choice they have is staggering. For the Scout class, there are many weapons that DICE can choose from. Sniper rifles and bolt-action rifles would include the Springfield 1903 and Lee Enfield No. 4 for the Brits, the Kar-98K and the K-43 for the Germans, the M1C Garand for the US, and the Mosin Nagant for the Soviets. The Arisaka 99 and Kakano could appear in a similar way to how they did in BF1 with the DLC, and there are loads of different rifle variants that DICE could choose from. However, I think they'll stick to the infantry, marksman and sniper variants. This means that you can have 3 times the amount of options in a loadout screen. Instead of just having a Mosin Nagant that you could then customize, they'll probably have like a Mosin sniper variant, a Mosin marksman variant, maybe a Mosin infantry variant. It's better for certain maps if you know what gun to pick because of the different engagement ranges and things like that. So they are my predictions if Battlefield is to take a turn towards World War II. So many awesome weapons that have barrels of history behind them, and in my opinion DICE have no excuse but to include far more content than they did in BF1. There needs to be more variety and simply far more content in the new game. This is because firstly, players crave more than what BF1 could offer, and secondly, the Second World War was far larger than the First. The potential is clearly there, and if DICE don't take it, I guarantee there will be a backlash from the community. However, I do have faith and can't wait to see what they come up with. Thanks for watching guys. If I did miss any weapons that you think will be included, even if they're pretty weird ones, because DICE do have a habit of putting prototype weapons into their games, which is pretty cool in my opinion, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be sure to read them. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.